More wasteful spending has been uncovered by DOGE, this time concerning veterans. We learned that employees who were supposed to be processing benefits for veterans were spending a lot of their time, thousands of hours, to the tune of over $3 million, renegotiating their union contract rather than fulfilling the benefits of these veterans. So if you're a veteran and maybe you had a question, you had emailed or you had called and you're waiting for some type of determination or information, it may have been delayed because the rep who was supposed to be helping you was too busy working on his or her union contract. Can you believe that? The story was in the New York Post. Federal workers who were supposed to be taking care of the men and women in the military spent 87,000 hours. That's not a typo. You didn't misunderstand me. 87,000 hours, and they spent over $3.3 million taking care of their own union benefits. And you and I paid them to do it. We footed the bill, our tax dollars. During the fiscal years 2023 and 2024, union staffers at the Defense Health Agency, which oversees the TRICARE health benefits for U.S. troops, charged the federal government for the time they spent working on contract negotiations, eking out fringe benefits and other union duties, according to a report obtained by Senator Joni Ernst's office and published by the New York Post over the weekend. Of the $3.3 million spent on union time, the report says about $190,000 was spent on negotiating a labor contract for workers at the agency since 2023. DHA said when asked about the large expense, during this period our agency was undergoing a significant transition aimed at stabilizing and enhancing our labor relations process. At the time, only about 36% of seats at the agency's headquarters were occupied. Nobody was there. Nobody was working there. DHA's multi-million expenses on taxpayer-funded union time is the largest figure that Senator Ernst's office has released during its investigation. Now, Senator Ernst is chairman of the Senate DOGE caucus. The House and the Senate have both set up their own DOGE committees to supplement what Elon Musk is doing. Ernst told the New York Post, this report on the Defense Health Agency highlights everything that's wrong with the federal workforce. She said taxpayers were subsidizing more than $3 million of union activities while the D.C. headquarters sat at just 36% occupancy. Bureaucrats should serve the American people, not themselves. Other agencies had significantly lower spending on taxpayer-funded union time. NASA spent about $400,000. The Nuclear Regulatory Commission spent about $420,000, both of these in 2024. Look, I don't think we should be footing the bill for any of these employees to negotiate or renegotiate their union contract. If they have concerns about their union contract, let them do it on their time, nights and weekends. You agree? Do you like the idea that your tax dollars were paying these people to renegotiate their union contract? Are you good with that? 800-655-MIKE, 800-655-6453. I'm not a big fan of unions. You may have figured that out by now. But really, I mean, am I missing something here? According to the New York Post, federal unions are restricted from negotiating benefits and pay by the Federal Service Labor Management Relations Statute. Instead, benefits and pay are determined by the law set by Congress and federal regulations. It says, but federal unions can negotiate over more minor aspects of working conditions and the places they live, that they work, what they can wear to work, those types of things. But again, does it concern you that these federal employees feel like that it's okay for them to spend their time, rather than, in this case, rather than serving veterans whom they're being paid to serve, they're out negotiating their union contract. That's their priority. Some veteran out there may have needed services, health services. Some veteran out there probably had to wait weeks to get an answer on a specific question because their rep was too busy with their union negotiation. These are the types of things that DOGE is uncovering. So how you can not agree with what DOGE is doing, and for those thousands of people over the weekend during these hands-off protests, and DOGE was part of what they were protesting. They weren't just protesting Trump himself. Many of them think that DOGE has overreached its authority, that DOGE is a bad thing. And quite often what they have cited is the federal employees who have lost their jobs. Now, I don't like for anyone to lose their job. That's hard for anyone. But we have to start somewhere, right? We elected Donald Trump last November to decrease the size of the federal government, to balance our budget eventually, to erase our debt. How are you going to do that if some of these agencies aren't closed, like the Department of Education? And in order to close these agencies, there's going to be some bureaucrats who are going to lose their job. Now, maybe they can go to work for one of these new companies or one of these new manufacturing facilities that's going to be opening as a result of Donald Trump's tariffs, because we're going to see more jobs created because of the tariffs. Scott is in Illinois. Welcome, Scott. You're on the Matt Gallagher Show.
Hey, Joey. Doing a great job today, buddy.
Thank you, sir.
So, I just wanted to make a quick comment on this. So, I used to work for a $300 billion company, and after the housing market collapsed, they laid off 6,000 people. I don't understand where these government employees have become so complacent that they don't realize if you're not making a profit or you're not doing your job to the level that you're expected by your supervisors or by the government, you shouldn't have a job. But yet you have these people who've become so complacent that they think that they're entitled to have these jobs. A great example is the fact that the post office loses about $3 billion every quarter, and yet a company like UPS makes like 20 to 30 billion every quarter. And yet people keep letting this happen and pretending like they're entitled to have these jobs, and they need a reality check.
Yep. Well, you know what, Scott? I think they're getting a reality check. I think Donald Trump's giving them a reality check. They certainly need it. You're right. And, Scott, the key word that you use there is entitled. So many of these federal employees are entitled. They think that it's their right to have that well-paying government job. I mean, think about how many of them were still working from home when Donald Trump moved back into the Oval Office on January the 20th. And they're complaining because their agencies are saying, hey, look, you got a job. You work here. Your office is here. We need you in the office. And we're talking about the unions earlier. A lot of these unions have sent their lawyers to object to these federal employees having to go back to their office. The unions are trying to protect these like it's a right for them to work from home. These are the types of situations that we're dealing with when it comes to our federal employees. And it's time. Look, there's a lot of good paying jobs. There's a lot of jobs that obviously, if they've been at home for a few years now, nobody really knows what they're doing. Maybe it's time to reassess whether they're needed. I read a story over the weekend. I don't know if it's true or not, but it's the story of Elon Musk, supposedly one of his longtime executive assistants asked him about a raise and about some additional benefits. And so he said, tell you what, I'm going to give you a couple of paid weeks off, and I want to evaluate whether or not I need your position. So she took 2 weeks off. Elon Musk realized, hey, you know what? I really didn't miss her. I don't know that I need that position anymore. There's a lot of these federal positions, we don't need them anymore. I'm Joey Hudson, in for Mike Gallagher today.
For full shows, live and on demand, it's Salem News Channel.